Hello there, racing fans. Welcome back to the channel. Proudly sponsored by betting.co.uk. And we're just back again. We've got 8 days to go now until the Cheltenham Festival. And rather than going through all of these individual races again, we've done quite a lot of that. We had quite a decent response to the Lucky 15 video that we did a couple of weeks back. So I've asked the boys to get another 4 selections. We're going to go through these selections, see how we get on. And then I think Scotty's got some questions from the viewers for us at the end of the episode. But first of all, James, how you doing? You must be getting excited now.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Joe. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to after the weekend. Just gone. But yeah, this is the lull, isn't it? Yeah, you just want to get on with it now. Really, just want to get on with it. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to look at it anymore. I don't care about. Look, obviously, subscribe to the channel and watch our preview.
Yeah, all of
But
that.
yeah, but look, ready to go for everyone. So when we do all the 28 races, I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm settled now from what I have.
We've seen enough action, seen enough
Yeah.
races, haven't we? Just ready to get stuck in. But hopefully, again, that's why this Lucky 15 concept's a little bit different for us. And again, hopefully we can find some winners on the way. Bad boy, how you doing? You okay?
Yeah, good. Same as Jay. Just next week, hopefully, will fly by, and the, the excitement for me is waiting until Sunday at 10 o'clock to see what's running on the Tuesday. That's the thing I'm looking forward to. But no, I've done all my anti-post bets. I've been loading up since April. I think first time probably ever. I'll probably go into the festival and not actually back anything in the week. I'm quite happy in my position, and I'll probably have a couple of goes in the handicaps, do a couple of forecasts and whatever. But no, I'm happy. Not one to chase anymore. I enjoy doing this kind of thing more so, and yeah, I'm going to go and play snooker tomorrow all day and not watch any racing for the next week and keep a low profile and yeah, get involved next Sunday with the boys on the Racing Lee and you guys again, and then looking forward to doing this tonight. So that'll be it.
Good stuff, mate. Well, you must be doing something right now, Scotty, to still be in a healthy position for the festival. Like I said, sometimes it's just good to give your brain a bit of a freshen up. Like James said, he's like, I just want it to get underway. You're saying you need a break from the racing. But hopefully, in 8 days' time, lads, we'll all be good to go for the festival. Right, we won't spend too long on this. You know the process. We're going to go around one by one, bringing you a selection, and then I will confirm at the end of the episode the lucky 15s. James, do you want to kick us off this week with your first selection?
Yeah, I'm gonna skip Joe. I'll just go all the handicap stuff. Obviously, what we said,
Yeah,
it'll be each way, lucky 15 handicap.
yeah, okay.
I'll skip the first 2 days. I don't like really. I do fancy horses, obviously, but I'm not 100% on them yet. But we'll start with the pretemps. I will definitely take on Guy Quill. Anyway, I think, and you laugh at me here. I'm gonna go with Skeleton Horse, and I fancy this horse since he ran at Market Raisin.
Oh
I've
no.
spotted him. I've backed it at 50 to 1. It's 25s now. It was third Market Raisin. This horse has won a Hennessy, a Coral Gold Cup as they call it. Le Milos is the one. I see Frank Hickey kind of. I was there last day watching the Petty Powered. One of the only kind of thing I kind of watch. That Frank is from a place called Ballincollig in Cork, and he probably knows my aunt because she's an elocution teacher, and I'd say he'd look at him laugh at me, if he found out that. But anyway, I like it, and he kind of cribbed Lemilos, and I was delighted. I was like, yes, Lemilos. I see Dan Skelton said last night in the Labrix preview, it's probably more than 60% it's going to the Pertemps. It's qualified marker race, caught my eye, and then it ran at Ascot last week in a handicap off 146. No, it's won the Hennessy off 146, and it went up to 152. He's chase mark is 150. No, he got dropped another £4 by the handicapper
Oh,
when
bloody
the weights
hell.
came out.
Mm-hmm.
To me, how much is Dan Skelton paying the British handicapper? But look, fair enough. That's the way it is. With Langer 10 running up the same mark he is last year in the Coral Cup. But 142, classy horse, but hasn't won for a long time. I suppose hasn't won since the Coral Gold Cup, I don't think. But I think this has been a plot all year. And I don't really like, I suppose the only Irish horse I like is that Cletus Pulao, who was second to Ballyburn at Leopardstown. You either go like I possibly Joe. It's the worst per times I've seen in a long time. That's just me, quality wise. But with back class, and I hate going for horses. Really, it's never been my way to go for back class horses. But he's won a Hennessy. I think the ground is going to dry out more towards the end of the week, and just my prediction. And I think it'll suit him. And I will go with him. He's 25 to 1 still. I can't see him. I'm like, if you get 25-1 the first 5-6 spaces, I can't see him after the first 5-6. So I'll go Lemilas in the third time fine for Dan Skelton.
No shout, Jay. He's underestimated in these big handicaps, Skelton as well, isn't he?
Yeah. I
Honestly,
think he's a huge plat job. Like. I
yeah.
think it is. Hopefully, I'm right.
Yeah, well, he gets a lot of stick, doesn't he? But it pays off because he does actually win a lot of the big handicaps. So yeah, Lemilos for Jamie and the Pertips at 25-1. Nice big price to kick us off. Scotty, what are you going to follow that with, buddy?
Yeah, I've got four horses who I'm not going into the handicaps. I'm going to save the handicaps for our main preview.
Yeah, okay.
So I backed all four of these actually in multiples and singles. So the first one I'm going to put up is not really a surprise. You all know how much I like the horse in the Triumph Hurdle. I know Sir Gino is the one to beat. Not necessarily overly sold on him as much as everybody else is. As a minor crab, I think Burdett Road obviously wasn't. Whether he didn't run up to his previous run the last day. He's obviously come out and had problems. He's not going to make the festival. I don't know if that just flattered Sergino slightly. But other people are saying the Milantino forming behind a good plot for the Boodles. But the horse I'm going to back is Nürburgring for Joseph O'Brien each way. He's 16-1. I honestly think he's probably up there with the best juvenile in Ireland this year. The likes of Madgeborough. He's got improvement to come. Thought he ran a cracker at the DRF. Very raw horse still. They didn't really know what to do with him. They sent him on. And that race was won by Cargis, who the Nürburgring was only 3/4 of a length behind Cargis and Carlo Conti at Christmas. But previously to that, he won his maiden hurdle pretty well at Killarney. He was very green that day. He'd just come off the flat. He was on the flat, I think, the same month. Mikey Sheehy was he was with on the flat, and he was rated 96 on the flat. So he's a pretty solid horse on the flat himself. Coming into this kind of race as well, he's the only horse that's beat Wadu officially, who's won 4 in a row since that race, albeit I've said before the result was reversed due to the interference. And giving weight to the likes of Carlo Conti and beating her, giving her £3, and then that 3/4 of a length, giving I think it was £10 Carlo Conti was getting, beating 3/4 of a length, and Cargisi was literally a nose between the three of them. Nürburgring brings the best form for me from Ireland into the race this year. He would have been 11-12 going into the Boodles. Kevin Blake said the other night he's definitely running here. This is the plan. So all the weights will go up in the Boodles. I just think he's going to be suited to the new course as well. That flat form, flat speed, it will really play into his hands. Like we see a lot of these juveniles come off the flat. So I'd be taking him at 16-1, and I think he'll hit the frame. Can't say he will beat Sergino, but if anything goes wrong on the day, he'll be there to pick up the pieces, and I think he's a big price.
You're very bullish about him, aren't you? Like all year long, you sort of said.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm not scared to take on these short price favourites. The likes Apple Shakira was bossing small fields in England one year, and she went off an even money 10-11 poke, albeit her better form was on the heavier ground. So Gino's proven himself on the good ground. You can go right, you can go left. He did it at Kempton. But I'm not convinced that he's an 8-11 shot. He's probably the winner, but I think he's too short. So hence why I go each way. Sometimes you have to back a horse each way that you think can win, and I think he could win.
Yeah, I actually say that myself, Scotty. For me to back a horse each way, I want to see it having a realistic chance of actually winning the race. So I don't like playing for places, fifth of the odds, double your money, and all of that jazz. But yeah, like you said, good case there for Nürburgring. Definitely no one's stealing that selection from you. If he wins in 8 days' time as well, a few days after next week, should we say? Okay, 2 nice prices to start with. My next selection comes in the Grand Annual. I really like the 5-year-old Madara here for Sophie Leach. Now, he may only be a 5-year-old, but he's actually had 9 chase starts already. So he's been busy, and he's had 4 starts for Sophie Leach since joining, and has actually gone on and won his last 2. He won at Cheltenham in December. I was on the old course. No, it was on the new course. So he will obviously be on the old course where he has been beaten previously. But those 2 runs didn't necessarily suit him prior to that. But he was very good in December. Then, of course, lads, when we were at the DRF this year, he bolted it. He was really, really impressive. And he's just a 5-year-old. It was a big, big performance that day. And the fact that James Reevely came over for the one ride gave you the talent story that he was going to be well handicapped. And he he got the job done in really, really good fashion. The experience of those 9 chase starts, I think, are going to help him as well. He's got quite sort of a deep, hustly, bustly race here. So a 5-year-old wouldn't be something I usually fancy, but the fact he's got this experience and those 9 starts behind him, I'm more than happy to go with him. He's got a rating of 143. I quite like that mark for him in this race. He's almost just like an experienced novice more than anything. Clearly still improving, clearly unexposed, and at a double figure price of 10-1, he will do for me. Nice one, lads. 3 double figure prices to kick us off. James, roll us on with selection number 2.
With the process of what you said, Joe, for the Kim Muir, I think Kim Muir now is down to 2 horses, and they both ran in the 2.5 mile handicap behind Heartwood. Obviously, we're on another way thinking Percival Lagalwal, but what you're saying about Percival, you just don't know if it's going to run or not. If Percival doesn't run like off his Irish mark of 137, you'd have to have a right chance in the Irish National. And if Good Time Johnny never came over off 132, I must have a serious chance to win the Irish National. But I think Good Time Johnny's going to go to Cheltenham because obviously the owners won the prelims last year, so they're probably going to go. Where if you look at it, he was 2 lengths. I know the way you're thinking was 2.5 lengths behind. Good Time Johnny. They were 2 of the most biggest eye catchers of the whole race. Didn't try hard. They didn't like, and look, we just call a spade, Aaron. Don't mind people cribbing this and this. They didn't try hard. And there's no beating around the bush there. I'm going to go when I know you're ready. Thinking because of the back form is huge. It's like he's what I see. Bet MGM is still 7-1, but the top price with the main firms is 5-1 still. Been really well backed, and obviously the jockey got off and said this horse needs a trip. So it started behind Imagine over 2 miles, then goes over 2.5 miles behind Gaelic Warrior. Dunn runs 7 lengths behind in a grade 1 between Gaelic Warrior and then a grade 1 with a relay to Tom at Limerick at Christmas. And you look at Simon Torrance, just people go back and watch it. Go back and watch Limerick and see Simon Torrance. Have a look around and goes, oh, hold on. We have to get close here. Do you know what I mean? I have to get close here.
Yeah, sure.
Because the handicapper is going to say, what are you doing like? So I was very disappointed at Dublin Race Festival, but obviously he needs a trip. Hopefully they'll book a decent jockey. If Percival and Galway don't go, that means Derek O'Connor is going to be on Good Time Johnny. And I have that from a very good source. From the horse's mouth, the trainer himself. No, he go back and he's already could be telling a pack of lies. But I know the way you're thinking, maybe a Barry O'Neill, maybe something like that. Wouldn't a good jockey. But I really like this horse. I think like this horse was all year favourite last year for a pipe. Just reminds me like of a storyteller. Favourite for a pipe, wins a plate, goes back to Fonier and wins the race.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I know the way you're thinking for the Kim Muir 5-1 will do me.
The price, I think you've both been banging on about him for a while as well, haven't you? This fella, like you said, we saw him at the DRF. And yet, for those that didn't or haven't heard already, Percival Agawa may just be staying at home with the news that I know the way you're thinking is now going to go for the Kim Muir. Okay, Scotty, selection number 2, please.
Yeah, second selection again, each way, all the way here. So 12-1 going in a Ryanair chase. I think there's a lot of horses in here that will potentially not turn up that are ahead of this horse in the betting, and it's Fildor. Recently sold by Coldwell, obviously, and I think he's still with Gordon Elliott. I think I got that right. I think he's still there.
Mm-hmm.
He was second in the Triumph Hurdle not too long ago to Vauban, and he was a pretty solid performer. Vauban was very special that year. I think he was a bit hit and miss last year. I think he won his beginner's chase, beating Saint-Ouen, who subsequently beat him a few runs later. And then I think he was pottering around. They sent him back over hurdles, and I think he ran in the Coral Cup of top weight, or he was top weight for the Coral Cup. And he hasn't done a lot since then, but I think he's got some really good form this year, albeit he hasn't won many races. He was second at Naas to Dino Blue, giving her £7. He was only beaten a length and 3/4 in that race. And Dino Blue's obviously set the world on fire this year. A lot of people really think she's a banker for the Mare's Chase. She ran a good race behind Al Fabiolo, who Fildor finished behind again in the hilly way at Cork, and he was only beaten again 4 3/4 lengths. And I thought Al Fabiolo was really good that day. So stepping up in trip, I think Fildor could be a bit of a dark horse with this race. And I've been desperate to see him over 2.5 miles over fences. I think he's got form on the new course, like I said, finishing second in the Triumph. Looking at the horses above him in the betting, Pictori's not going to run. Conflated, I think that's a lazy backing opportunity for people. I think people just think Conflated is the fashionable Jigginstown horse that they always try and win their own race with. He failed in the race a couple of years ago. He's had his chance to win that race, albeit Allaho won that race. I don't mind the Conflated winning that race. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think Capodanno's good enough to win that race off level weights against the likes of Stage Star and Envoy Allen. And again, I think it's a year too far now for Envoy Allen. I think he's a popular pick, but Stage Star is probably the biggest danger in that race, and Banbridge I don't think will turn up, regardless of what the ground's doing. I think they'll save him for Aintree. I think that's his track. I think they'll put him in the Melling Chase, and I think he'll win that. So Fildor at 14s, 12s. You can get generally 12. Sorry, I think he's a bit of a chance each way, but he's definitely got the Cheltenham form. I think he's got the ability, and I think he can win the race. And I think he will definitely be in the frame.
I reckon that's a great shot. Shout that is Scott. A proper dark horse, really, Fildor, because he's quite young still, isn't he? And he's running some pretty big races without necessarily being like properly campaigned at the same time.
Exactly that. He's had a very hard start to his career where he was chucked in the deep end as a free progressing 4-year-old. And a bit like a lot of the 4-year-olds do, they have a season go missing, which I'm going to make in my next
Okay.
selection case. And they come back as 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and they perform well over fences. So I wouldn't be scared of backing him each way at 12 to 1.
Love that. Fildor for Scotty at 12 to 1 in the Ryanair. My next selection is a horse that I haven't really taken to up until now. We're starting to get towards the crunch time. Quite a short price at 7 to 2, and it comes in at the Turners. I'm taking a chance here with Grey Dawning. Again, I really haven't been taken by him too much up until now. And the fact that Factor File is going to be going to the Browns, I am now really starting to like Grey Dawning. Ginny's Destiny is obviously in here. Great jumper, in fact, very, very good jumper, and likely to give his run in again. But Grey Dawning's only got 3/4 of a length to find with him, and I think he's going to get it no problem at all. I think when they met previously, Grey Dawning wasn't actually in tip-top shape at the time. And even though these are 2.5 milers, 3 milers, I actually think Grey Dawning's got quite a strong finish in his race as well. So providing he's not too far away from Ginny's at the end of the race, I actually think Grey Dawning is going to take all of the beating. He's likely to make a mistake or two. Ginny's probably going to ping everything, but I actually just think engine-wise, Grey Dawning is probably better, providing that he jumps okay at Cheltenham. And I've got a feeling Dan Scott's going to have a right old time of it this year as well. So Grey Dawning for me in the Turners, short price mind at 7 to 2. Okay, Jamie, selection number 3, please.
We go with the county, Joe. I have a couple in here. Obviously, there's King of Kingsfield, Absurd. I'm hoping my pipe selection, I will get on to him, doesn't run here, but I'll leave that to the next one.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go with Under Control. It's running tomorrow. I presume, is there a penalty structure? If she wins tomorrow, is there a 6-7 pound? There's no penalty structure because they got the way.
So. I think
But
it's
if there's
status
no
quo now for the weights. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's no penalty structure and she wins tomorrow, she's throwing in off 138. She's absolutely throwing in. Like, she's 72 tomorrow to win that more battle. Wouldn't
What price is she?
72? She is top 8 to 1 at the moment. I have in here on my thing. That's Labrook's prices though. That's only just put into the app.
Sorry.
But anyway, it's 72 to 1 more battle tomorrow. I wouldn't bother me if it wins or not tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? If it's in the top 3. But look, you see how good and see if there's any problem with the Henderson stable tomorrow if she's beating up the back of the telly. Do you know what I mean? But I can't let her go tomorrow at 72, and I'm going to be back her in the county anyway. I've had her back ages ago for the county. I backed her at Carl Cup originally, but I've backed her again for the county. I think she's way better than 138, and I said there that the last day on the boys' 30-second job there in the Cheltenham Exchange that she is better. She's going to be more than 150s mares next year, and I'd be backing her. She definitely has a chance next year in the mares hurdle because of a last team out, maybe go back to a champion hurdle. So I think she's really good, and I can't put anyone off on her at 8, 10 to 1. She's probably going to drift on the day because she ran into more bad. So yeah, Under Control for me for the county hurdle. Yeah.
Unless she wins tomorrow, she'll go off your favourite. She's 10 to 1. I don't know January 10.
But she ran a couple of days ago, didn't she? Because it's Monday by the time we're sending this out. anyway, next one. Okay, Scotty, who you got next for us?
Yeah, another each way one in a race, which I think is an absolute nightmare of a race to try and solve. But I just like the horse. He's grown on me this season. In the Albert Bartlett, he's going to run, I think. It's Captain Teague, Mr. Nichols, Johnny Delahaye. You've got the old curse of the shallow hurdle. Horses that win the shallow don't win at the festival. I think this year, it's just something about Captain Teague where I think he's going to run a blinder in this race. I think there's a lot of horses in the Albert Bartlett that potentially might need soft to heavy ground. That would be best effective. High class hero I put in that bracket. I think he's a brilliant animal, great chaser for next season. But there was something interesting. Obviously, Captain Teague, third in the bumper, like I said, won the Persian War up at Chepstow. He was good that day, didn't beat a hell of a lot. And I don't know why Harry Cobden gave him the ride he gave him when he lost to Manila Missile at Cheltenham the next day. I found it very strange the path he took, and whether he was doing it just to find a better ground, whether he was just doing it just to see how the horse acted, I don't have a clue what he was doing. I think he lost that race that day, Harry Cobden, as great as he is. Um, and in the Challow, he did something that I didn't think he could do, and that was in the ground. He beat the likes of Johnny Who, Look Away, who are pretty good horses, and he didn't do a tap in front. He was just not doing anything, and I thought something's going to get him. And he just stayed there, and then he just looked at them. He had a little look around. He's still a big baby, Captain Teague, and I think the Albert Bartlett, you need a lot of experience traditionally, but the more the race goes on down the years, classier horses are winning the race. And I think Captain Teague falls into that mold. I think he's classy, and I think he's got a massive chance. I think looking down that race, you can make cases for so many horses, but I think at 12-1, Captain Teague's a good each way bet. And I can't really say more than that. It's just a case of I think he's a decent horse, and I wouldn't want to be against him. I backed him already, and I'd have massive respect for High Class Hero. If the ground came up soft, I think he's probably the most likely winner. But I think Captain Teague is again a big price, hence why I'll be backing him.
Is he just one of these that the closer we get, Scott, you're starting just to like warm to bit by bit, sort of thing? As you,
After his run at Cheltenham, people were fancying him for the Challow. I said, "You're mad, absolutely mad." But after that race, like I said, when he hit the front, he just seemed like an out and out stayer. He looked like a 3 mile chaser in the making. And we've seen it with Stay Away Fade last year. Okay, Captain Teague's probably got a higher profile than he had last year. But I think he fits the bill for an Albert Bartlett, Captain Teague. I don't think he has to pace for 2.5 against the likes of Ballyburn, potentially Mystical Power. This is the race he'll run in, and I'm going to be on him.
cracking price again, Scotty. Lovely job at 12-1. Um, for my third selection, I'm almost cheating a little bit because I'm taking a selection from the last Lucky 15 we did, but with good reason because she's my captain for the Lucky 15 in my last video. But Percival Lagawa with the news that he may not be running in the Kimyor, I wanted her in this again, and that's Jade de Grugy in the Mare's Novice. Now, I'll be very happy if Madara lands and then Grey Dawning lands, and then I'd be more than happy with my third leg being Jade de Grugy. She's 5-2, so she is short enough, but I think she's a really, really fast horse. And this year, for me, she has to be the one that's winning the Mare's Novice. So I've got great respect for Dysart Enos, even without that penalty. But I think when she comes up against horses like Jade de Grugy or even Brighter Days Ahead, she's going to get found out, even though that two Irish mares are the ones with the penalties. I get all of the hype surrounding Brighter Days Ahead, but I'm trying not to buy into it too much and just taking my own stance on this because we've seen it plenty of times with Gordon hyping up horses and it's never quite turned out the way it has or he has wanted it to as such. But she's obviously a very talented mare, but I think she'll do better next year when she goes up in trip. Maybe for a fence, I'm not sure. Either way, I think she needs more of a trip. But to me, Jade de Grugy is the one with the speed at the moment. And I think however this race runs, she's going to be too fast for them at the finish. And I really do think it's straightforward as that. Jade de Grugy is selection number 3 for me. Jamie, number 4. Who's going to win you the millions?
I'm hoping this horse doesn't go to the county, Joe, but there's a distinct possibility it might.
Okay.
It's Willie Mullins' horse, and it's called. I think this is an absolute banker of the whole meeting of the handicaps if it runs in the Martin Pipe. I can't.
Is that what he's called? That's a long name. Is that what his name is?
I can't see nothing beating this horse in the Martin Pipe if it goes. And it's Liz Nagar fortune for Willie Mullins.
Okay.
Nothing will beat this horse off 1-4-2. He's better than that. Go through the form. Second, down in Cork to Reed and Tommy Wrong, who's a huge fancy of mine for the Velvet Bartlett, was beaten a schnot, as I call it. Then went on to another 2 mile maiden hurdle, and it absolutely hosed him. And the third that day, Mercury, is after hosing up again in the maiden hurdle for Willie Mullins. So this horse he's been basically becking around with his trip all the time. He started at 2 miles 6, 3 miles over at Cork. Then he's gone back to 2 miles. But I think he's a 2.5 miler. Look, if he's in the county, I'm going to back him anyway. But so I advise to back non-runner no bet, non-runner money back, whatever it is, Nagar fortune.
What
he's still
12-1.
12-1. I see here 12-1 is the highest. 10-1 generally. But if this horse runs in the Martin Pipe, Look, I know Staffordshire Knot was third that day, and reading Tommy wrong, there's Nagar Fortune race, and he didn't really know. But that Largy Hill is not a bad horse, and just keep an eye on that horse around Ferryhouse and Punchestown for the rest of your Largy Hill. I wouldn't give up on Staffordshire Knot anyway. He's still an experienced horse, so he's definitely a horse for the future. But this Liz Nagar Fortune, I mean, as I say, becking around with his trip all year. He's got his trip. Look, if he runs in the county, I'm going to back him in the county. But I think he should be in here. Martin Pipe, I fancied him all year. He's my banker the whole meeting when it comes to that. I always say Martin Pipe always gets me out of trouble. But this is the horse that'll get me out of trouble if I'm having a bad week. So it's Liz Nagar Fortune for the Martin Pipe. I can't see anything beating it.
There's Nagar Fortune to make you the fortune, then Jamie.
Mhm.
Yeah, nice shout, mate. And Scotty, who's going to win you the fortunes then?
Well, you're going to hate me.
Oh no, you're going in the Arkle, aren't you? You're
You
going
know me
for,
too well. You
you're
know me
going for,
too well.
you're
I
going for
have to.
Quilixios, aren't you?
I am indeed.
It's like
I
a
mean,
Meg or something.
9-4 Marine Nationale could be a gift. It could be the worst price in history. It could be a gift. I'm not going to say too much about Marine Nationale. Everybody kind of knows what's happening there. He could bounce back. He could flop. I think I'm not even going to talk about Marine Nationale. I'm just going to leave it. Quilixios is again fits into that mold I spoke about. Triumph Hurdle winner. Went missing for a year and a bit. He actually won that Triumph in 2021, beating Zanahiyr, beating Houghton Couleur, some very good horses. And he didn't win another race for 2.5 years. He won in October just gone when he won over 2 mile free when he beat Cool Survivor. And he didn't jump really that brilliant that day, but he had the class and the ability. When he jumped the last, Rachel dropped the reins and she almost went over his neck, but he still had the quality and the speed to get away from that final fence. And he put the race to bed in pretty good fashion, I thought. And then they did something which is so unlike Henry de Bromhead. Well, it's not because he used to race Sizing Europe over 3 miles when he was an out and out 2 miler trying to win races at Down Royal, trying to turn him into a Gold Cup horse. So I can see why he tried it. Um, so that didn't work, and that was that race where Favre de Champdou, Sandor Clegane, and Maxim, who's won at the DRF back over hurdles, they were all in that race. Flooring Porter was there. So that race could turn out well, but that was not Quilixios's trip. And I thought he was brilliant the last day. He won at Nace. He won over 2 miles. That's his trip. He won. He went off 5-1 that day when Mr. Policeman, who was off on that race, I think God is on, beat him pretty well. Safira was second in that race. And Mr. Policeman, okay, he's got his fans, he's got his haters, but he came out and he won again since. So the form's working out pretty well. I think Quilixios is a big price, and I think with that Cheltenham form, he can go on pretty much any ground. I think he's probably better for a bit of cut in the ground myself, but yeah, I think the Arkle's wide open this year. I think the likes of JPR1 will be a popular horse for the English backers each way. You've got the likes of Founder 50 and Ilite Thompson. There's not much between them, and they're half the price Quilixios is. I think Quilixios has got a massive chance, and I think he's got the class, and I think he'll be in there fighting at the end. I think he's probably the best jumper in the race from what we've seen consistency-wise. Marine Nationale was brilliant on his first day. He's probably the best jumper from that first beginner's chase at Leopardstown. But I don't think Quilixios is far behind in that department, and I think he's got everything in his favour. And the strong pace will suit him in the Arkle. There's good front runners in there. He'll come off the pace. I don't think he'll be ridden too far away, but if he is, he'll come off the pace and he'll come home up that hill. And again, I think 10, 11 to 1 is a big price each way.
I know, obviously, I'm in the Marine camp. However, he is a big price, isn't he? And when you take a look at, like, you can have a look at JPR1 and a few that are shorter in the market. There is a class angle there with Quilixios, isn't there? I guess at the same time. So
yeah, going back to that angle, Defi de when he won the Triumph Hurdle in 2017, he was fantastic. Everyone thought he was a champion hurdle horse.
yeah.
Absolutely ran a shitter of a season. I think he went to the Irish Champion Hurdle, and he threw in an absolute wobbler. We didn't see him. Everyone thought he was dead and buried. And then all of a sudden he comes out for a beginner's chase, goes on and wins 3 or 4 Grade Ones, wins the won the JLT as it was back then, or the Marsh. Won a Clarence House, a Tingle Creek, all those races he won, and obviously he flopped at the festival. Now, I'm not saying Quilixios will be as good as him, but like I said, that 4-year-old season to 5, 6-year-old, they tend to be better as 6 and 7-year-olds, and Quilixios fits that mold.
Yeah, could still be improving. James, do you like Quilixios as well? Just on that note.
Yeah, I do. I suppose it all depends, Joe, what I said during the week. If it's soft
Ground
heavy
isn't
ground,
it?
Fast Vega will win it. I've no doubt in my mind Fast Vega will win if I have soft heavy ground. But I think from what preview I saw a snippet there of the Shark handling Nina Carby, they think it'll go up and trip Fast Vega, and they don't think it jumps quick enough to win an Arkle. I beg to differ there. I don't see nothing wrong with I don't think Fast Vegan always said it doesn't like Leopardstown. If it's soft heavy, I think Willie Munn's will switch them around again. I think it'll be Festa Vega, the original Festa Vega Arkle, Gaelic Warrior Turners. But I think if it's a better ground, I think they'll switch Gaelic Warrior into the Arkle and put Festa Vega in the Turners.
Yeah.
That's just me. Look, you can't really judge Betfair at the moment. They're both kind of flip flop on the other sides. I'd love to see Gaelic Warrior in an Arkle because I think if it goes out in front, nothing will catch it.
I think the only thing there, Jay, is you've got Hunter Jarn, who I believe is going to run in the
I
Arkle.
give Hunter Sharn absolutely no chance.
Well, I agree because he needs to go right-handed for one. He needs to go right-handed for one, but that tells me that Paul Townend will probably ride him, and Facel Vega will go up and trip. That's the only way I look at it. Anyway,
maybe, yeah, because Blood Destiny's gone now. Because Blood Destiny's obviously has gone.
He's not going now.
Starting that, so it's an interesting one. But look, it's soft to heavy. I think they'll go Facel Vega in the Arkle, yeah, and I think it's between Facel Vega and Marie National if it's soft to heavy. I'd favour Vega after his bumper win, and he's better on heavy ground, and he's better at Cheltenham.
I'd love to see him chuck Gaelic in again. I know obviously I'm all in the Marine Cup, but get Gaelic in that Arkle. Just let him bowl along and do his thing, innit? And then we'll see how good he is then. Okay, cool. Well, my last selection, hopefully one that's going to win me some money. Again, might not be the most likable selection here, but I've been trying to get Dino Bluebeat all year long. I have, I know you have as well there, James. But I've been stung in this race. So I put up Impervious for the mares last year. She won. She then got injured. So I put a Muscada. Muscada's just gone backwards. So then I put Halka de Taber. Now she's not even racing anymore. So I'm going to give it one more shot of Brides Hill each way, mind in this lucky for Gavin Cromwell. Scotty obviously didn't like that there, but for me, she's just a horse that's going the right way, and connections are really bullish about her chances, and we haven't actually seen her to her limit just yet. So for me, if you're going to have a look at her mark, she's still got £3-4 improvement still to come on that, and she actually goes a little bit better left-handed, despite winning right-handed like last time out at Huntingdon. She's a horse that going places, and she's absolutely in her prime. So I don't see why she wouldn't have a much better chance than what her odds are telling her. Don't get me wrong, she was 10. She's about 8-1 now, best price. But I think out of the remainder, again, I've been stung non-stop all year round for this race. But I'm going to give a chance for Brides Hill to hopefully land for the lucky 15. Right, we've got some questions to go through, but I'll read the lucky 15s out for those that want to jot them down. Starting with Jamie, we've got Lamilos for the per temps at 25-1. I know the way you're thinking at 6-1 for the Kim Muir, Under Control at 8-1 for the Coral Cup, Lisnagar Fortune at 12-1 for the Martin Pipe, wasn't it, Jane?
Under Control 8-1, 10-1 for the County.
County, sorry. What did I say? Coral.
Yeah.
And then for Scotty, Nabernreg in the Triumph at 16s, Fildor in the Ryanair at 12s, Captain Teague in the Bartlett at 12s, and then Quilixios at 12s for the Arkle. And then for myself, it's going to be Madara in the Grand Annual, Grey Dawning in the Turners, Jade Grugy in the Mares Novice, and Bright Hill in the Mares Chase. Okay, so there's the four. There's the 3 lucky 15s for everybody. But Scotty, you've got some questions to throw at us, I believe.
Yeah, got 5 questions. The first one's kind of already half been answered from Ian Shevke, a good friend of mine, who's asked, anything that's running on Saturday that you think holds a strong chance to go on and win at Cheltenham? And in particular, he's highlighted Under Control in the Moor Battle.
Control. I can't say no more. Under Control, yeah.
Yeah, so he's also mentioned here he fancies a horse called Bingo with 2 O's. Never heard of that horse. And another one called Any Harm in Asking. Dropping back to 2 miles. Hopefully can do it. Second to the Me and Lion.
He's gone. I think he's gone, that horse, because I think you know yourself, Scotty, they really have jumped on the bandwagon because it's it beat Constitution Hill around. I know, if you've ever been to Tipperary Racecourse, they actually ran that point to point on the inner track. That's worse than a greyhound track. That's just like running a chase around Dundalk. Or around Lingfield, or on the all-weather Lingfield or on the all-weather Chelmsford. Hopefully eventually we'll see grass racing at Chelmsford. That's how I can, on the inside track, that's how I can describe it. Didn't suit Constitution Hill, and it suited Any Harm Less, and people are still on the bandwagon about that horse.
And they're about £40 difference in the ratings.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Not even a comparison there. But I actually quite like him as a horse, mind Any Harm in Asking. So I'll give him some sort of form boost there. But you know, he might have leveled out his form a little bit. I don't
Hmm.
think there's too much improvement as such. So
Yeah, so Ian's also thrown in another question. He's asked, when it comes to handicaps for the festival, what criteria and level of importance do you consider into your selections? How far out do you pick your horses? Would you wait until final declarations beforehand? And how early do you work on your selections? And he's also asked for one handicapper you're keen to be on for the festival.
I'll go first for this one then James. For me, I like a little bit of class in my horses, regardless of whether it's a handicap or not. It's all good finding a horse near the bottom of the weights, but if they haven't got the class and the solid jumping to go with it, then they're actually on a little bit more of a back foot than what meets the eye on paper. So I definitely want to find a little bit of class in my handicappers, and a horse that's been there and done it probably as well. Got some good form over a similar track to Cheltenham. Course form is very, very big for me, but if you find a horse that can jump well at Warwick and Chepstow and places like that, then I do like that sort of form as well. But I definitely like a little bit of class in my handicappers. I don't just like backing a no hoper just because he's got a 10 stone 8 sort of weight on his back. So class first for me, regardless. Oh, and my handicapper for the festival is going to be Great Cool. Great Cool and Madara. I really fancy the pair of those, both youngsters, 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. They would do for me, yeah. I got a bit thrown off there with a, but yeah.
For me, when it comes to handicappers, I'll take a stab at a few when the prices come out. I will say that. It doesn't always work, but for me, I'm not a back class fella, even though I can't say that because I backed Piper last year to win the County Hurdle.
He was still
I
young though.
like, yeah, I like horses that. Fair enough. The problem is obviously the Irish British tax thing, right? So you're trying to predict how much the British handicapper is going to give them. So I'm looking at a horse that, look, biggest example is Good Time Johnny, 132 in Ireland. He's given 142 in the UK. To me, like I thought he'd get 6, 7 pounds, right? So is he an improved horse? Can he win a race 7 pounds, 8 pounds better than his British handicap mark? I don't think so. So I look for a horse that is better in a handicap that should, if he runs off its mark, is the horse £10 better than its original mark? So to me, like under control, I'm trying to explain to you, is that it's a 138. I think she's better, £10 better than 138. And that's how I base my handicaps off. Have you £8 to £10 better than your handicap mark? Are you going from a handicapper into graded races? That's how I pick it.
I like experienced novices as well, just to add to that, like a nice experienced novice, which is again just to chuck another 10 pence in, which is why I like Madara being just a 5-year-old. He's unexposed, but he's had 9 chase starts already and won his last 2. Like, so there's a lot to like again about there. But Scotty, like you can answer the question as well, like sort of thing. What do you think?
Yeah, first things, what you said, I look for class. I normally try and find something that's unexposed and could potentially be a graded horse in a handicap running for the first time in a handicap. State Man was the most recent example of one I backed in the county, going as far back to Road to Respect when he won the plate, and then ran on to be a fourth in the Gold Cup. And Fingal Bay, he was a top weight in the Pertemps final many years ago. He was touted to be one of the best novice hurdlers in England, didn't make the festival through injury, came back, and he had a bit of a shocking campaign over fences. And I can't remember if it was before then or after then, and then they sent him down the Pertemps route. And I thought, he's just so classy. He's carrying 11, 12. I don't mind a horse that carries 4 or 5 pounds more than a horse I fancy second or third in my list, so to speak. I'll always go for the horse who I think is the best horse in the race, regardless of how much weight they carry, if that makes sense. I think if they haven't underperformed and throw in 2 or 3 stinkers, I'm again with Jamie. I wouldn't judge it on back class. I'd probably go for the horse that's still unexposed, even
Yeah.
as a top weight, kind of, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's just visuals. Like me and Jamie said, I know the way you're thinking, and I know Kieran Clavin spotted it as well. I think we wasted our money at the DRF, but we'll get it back in the Kim Mule. I'm pretty convinced that
Yeah,
he's an
yeah,
unexposed type.
exactly. I did what Scotty says there, Joe. Right? He's 145 for a Kim Muir. He's better than 145. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's like, you take Gaelic Warrior and Ilete Tampa the race, he's a grade 1 winner. Do you know what I mean? He's not a grade 1 horse, but he's probably a grade 2 horse in Ireland.
Yes, I
So
see.
that's what I'm basing it on. So like I think he's better than 145.
And
Yeah,
when
like I think it's a steal.
You want a horse
And
that can
plus, too, if they put like an amateur claimer on him, oh my God.
exactly, yeah, exactly, and especially when you get a good Irish claimer because they tend to
Yeah.
be very, very good as well. Very, very good in these handicaps, that's for sure.
Okay, quick question from Mr. Clavin, Kieran himself, the Messiah. If you lads had to lay one horse for the win purposes at the festival, apart from Constitution Hill, which horse would you lay?
I know mine straight away, James. So I'll just jump in and tell you it's Dino Blue. I'm not convinced that she's gonna.
Or Ditto and Joe. Dino Blue, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Same probably reason for Jamie. Like, she is a 2 miler, isn't she? Let's face it, she's a 2 mile horse. She's got to prove that when she gets to Cheltenham, she can handle it. And this is why I've been trying to get her beat. Okay, it might not look financially profitable now because I've had a few horses injured and crooked, etc. But there's Limerick Lace, Bright Hill, even Allegory Devassi last year ran a good race to a degree in the Mayor's Chase. I think there's 3 horses there that can definitely compete with her over 2.5 miles, and that's why I'm trying to get a beat at that sort of price at the moment.
Yeah, I'm the same, Scott. Definitely Dino Blue, yeah. I think it's delayed the meeting. I made a stupid comment obviously last year that delayed the meeting with Honeysuckle in the with Dave and Darrell, but mayors you can't trust them. That's my 100% number one rule is that you just can't trust them. To say that last time out the bank of the meeting for some people they're talking absolute nonsense because you just don't know on the day with mayors. But Dino Blue is a huge day, huge. Never won over 2.5 miles,
That's it,
and
isn't it?
and look, regardless, they couldn't win the Carnannual off 140 last year. Like I think she's soft at the finish. She's a bit of kidology. You know, she looks better than she looks. But 2.5 miles around Cheltenham, not a hope in hell. She'll be outstayed. She'll travel like the best horse in the race. She'll look like the winner. But in a battle, she's no chance.
I just had a look. The only time, just quickly, Scott, the only time she's even ran over
Sorry.
2.5 was actually
In the grade one behind Brandy Love.
that's it, yeah, and that was
She
overheard of.
was
That's
beaten
ages
by
ago.
20 lengths.
Yeah, well, 10.5, but still, it
Mm.
probably looked like 20 at the same time, didn't
Mm.
it? We've lost Scotty. Where's Scotty gone?
We've
Everyone's
not
going to
got
go
it.
to
I
meltdown.
thought it was more than that, Joe. No, it wasn't 20
No,
lengths. Cumulative. Cumulative.
no, 10.5. Yeah, I've got it at Fairy House, grade one.
Behind Brandy Love, Love Envoy.
You got it. That's the form. Who was third?
Who was
You get it.
third?
You get it for a bonus point. Oh, that's a hard one. Horpy. It's one of these Donnelly horses that we haven't seen.
Oh, a whore pissed.
Yeah, Horpiece. Pissed. It's whatever. So who next then? While Scotty's not here, who would be the next lay then? Because we've sort of joint laid.
Oh, the next lay.
Is it Lossy because you said it, or is that more? Is
No,
that
no, I
more?
wouldn't lay last year out.
Is it,
Embassy Gardens at the price. Hugely.
who?
Oh,
Who?
Embassy Gardens, all day
Oh,
long.
interesting. Yeah, okay.
Hugely.
You just said that to annoy Scotty
No, no, no. I'm just going through, like, in my head, just going down through all the.
for the cards. Like,
Oh, hugely.
going through that, my answer is I haven't got one. I really couldn't lay anything.
Hmm.
I really don't think any of the short price favourites I'd want to lay.
fair enough.
Uh,
Right?
So no, I haven't got an opinion. Next question's from Jamie Dawson, big Coventry fan, legend.
Jamie, shout out Jamie.
In hindsight, what is the worst punt you've had for the upcoming festival, whether it's anti-post or your worst bet so far? I can tell you mine straight away. It was Impere Pass to win the Arkle, which I did after the Cheltenham Festival last year.
I can't think, but I'm not being smart here, honestly. But I've taken a different approach to my anti-post punting this year. I've mentioned that I haven't got
Oh, I
stuck
haven't.
into the Maltese as much. I've upped my stake on less singles, if that makes sense. I picked horses I've really liked, and I've stuck with them for a little bit longer. So I can't think of one off the top of my head. There's definitely going to be one there.
Mascada for the Mayor's Chase,
There we
probably.
go. Yeah, there you go. Mascada. Oh no, there we go. I've got another one. I've got two. So I've got Mascada. That's a bad one. And that's just reminded me of my fridge slips, lads. I had some backup money on
I've seen them. I've held them.
on Mr. Policeman, and that I mean he hasn't even got into the it's just terrible. That is terrible. All in on Marina course, but I had a spare cut of the 50's, and you've seen them on the fridge. Might as well be in the bin now, to be honest. Like, so yeah.
I suppose the worst punt, the horse I've lost the most money on, he's gone, is the French horse to win the stairs.
Telem, like stung you.
It really stung, yeah. Allaho stung a small bit, but Telem absolutely stung me, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Telem is probably my worst. Live at the moment,
I mean, Con Hill's looking ropey if he's in any Maltese.
We have a few multis, not in spectacular. Not much after that, but Cheltenham, yeah, was probably my worst puncher.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, cool. Andrew Smith has asked us, how much of your time and your betting bank do you invest in multiples, both through the season and in the lead up the week of the festival? So how much of your time and bank do you do for multiples, or are you more of a single better?
I'll say, I like doing. I showed you, Scott. I like doing stupid bets. It's a bit of a. I've done it all the time. I've done it since like October. I like doing stupid bets. Um, because they've come off for me. Do you know what I mean? They have come off for me. I'll never get the time like Dad poking me afterwards, and I was shouting for Concertista in the Mayor's Chase because we were up there in the draw of the draw I showed you there for the 5,000 at local bar, and we were like third, like second or third at the second last race, and I was shouting for because we put Concertista in the draw, and he was poking me. Why are you shouting against that make? Don't you have that for a huge roll up? I goes, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then I looked at my Raptors account, and there was about 3.5 grand in it. But look, that's fine for a Euro bet. Do you know what I mean? Like those kind of things. They only come off in a million years, but they kind of come off for me every year. You know, I always have one. Do you know what I mean?
Is it
Exactly what you said at the start, Scott. That the the week of the festival, I probably won't have. Like I'll have a bet. Do you know what I mean? I never get 1 year. I don't really cash bet anymore, and it was probably the last cash bet I ever had. Like 20 euros in my pocket, someone would be giving me 20 euros for a horse, and I just did it online. Just I was walking down to the Paddy Power, and someone gave me 20 euro. We put on that there for whatever the next stunt chase or something like that. Ravenhill. We
no?
put a tenner each way on me that day, but I backed Classical Dream. I had 20 quid. I said, look, I have 20 quid now, 6 to 1 on Classical Dream. I had a few bets in the race. That's my 140, and I just played around with it for the week. So it was my beer money. I just topped up all week, and I was happy. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of what I do for the week. I'll have a big bet now on Ballyburn in the Supreme again. I've backed him all year. It was like Abracadabras that year with Shishkin. I had Abracadabras 7 or 8 bets, singles. I said, I can't see this horse be beaten. The false start killed me, by the way, because if he was up second or third after the false start, and then he was all the way back. But that's what I do. I'll have a huge bet on Ballyburn. If it wins, it wins. I'll have the each way saver on Mr. Giff. That's who I fancy in the race. So that's what I'll do. If they win me money cash wise, I'll just play around with it then for the whole week. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'll do. My bets are done, and I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? And it's a bit of crack then after that. If you win a few quid off the first race, just play with then for the week. That's the way I always do it.
Yeah, for me, not as many multis this year, but again, like through the season, if I really fancy, I do the odd sort of mugs double if you like. I'll
Yeah.
find I'll find a couple that I like at the weekend. In a fusion, I'm going to have 50 on it. I'll have 40 on it instead, and then have a tenner double with something at Cheltenham just to get a few rollovers going. But this year, again, I've taken that different approach. So I definitely haven't got many multis on. Apart from the one I mentioned to you lads, I've got Victor Hovland, obviously won at 16 to 1 last year. I've got I've got that rolling over onto Mystical Power for the Supreme at 16s, even though I got a feeling he's going to go up in trip now, going on to Marine National in Cotton Hill. So again, it can just really backfire. So it's not something I've invested too much in this year. But again, I get stuck in all week long, to be honest with you, lads. So I've got some decent bets for now, in decent position as well, to be fair. But during the week or the few days up to Cheltenham, I will start investing in some decent multis. Yes, I just don't like to get stung on multis. It really hurts me. So I'm a big single player. I'd rather lump. What about you, Scotty?
Yeah, yeah, similar to what Jamie does, his style really. I've done it for years where at the start of the season or like April, straight after the previous festival, I'll target one horse and I'll do single bets, which is not relevant to the question. But I remember the last 5 years, I've always had that big single top up come in,
Yeah.
going back to appreciate it in the Supreme. Kept on topping up on him. I took 9 to 4 on Con Hill to win the champion hurdle last year after the Supreme. Topped up, and then when he got to odds on, I stopped. Bob Ollinger got lucky with 1 year when Gallopin fell in the Turners. I was on him at
Oh,
5 to 1
nice.
all the way down. And I had one last year. I can't even remember what my. I was Con Hill last year and Shishkin and Yarko 1 year. So this year I've done slightly different. I've had my El Fabiolo guarding for the champion chase. He'd be my biggest winner along with Ballyburn. And I've done something I've never ever done. I said to you before we came on was I backed Ballyburn for the Byron Bingham in April last year. Went rather large. and I've actually covered him for the Supreme, and I pretty much break even for profit wise for both races. So I'll be winning if he wins of a race, and
Okay.
I'll do what Jamie does. What if first race goes in, the rest of the week I'll bet 2 quids, 3 quids on the handicap singles at big prices that I fancy, anything I fancy, and play with it and cash out a tenner and 10 quid, 20 quid either here and get my beer money for the Friday. And but my biggest one I do is £7.50 is my level stake for a lucky 15 all the way out, and I'll do things like 25 pence each way, 50p wins. Put the same horses in a few times, maybe go for some bigger prices, and it all tallies up if they nick places. And I remember one year I was waiting on Mona Lee, I think it was for the Brown Advisory when he came second to presenting Percy, and I got about 300-400 quid back just from £7 bets throughout the
Hmm.
season for various horses. And with change, I'll do like each way 7, 8 folds with bigger prices. Like this year, I've gone in at Ginny's Destiny at a big price. Envoy Islands in there just because I know they'll be pretty solid horses, and if they all place, then you get a nice return. So
Definitely.
yeah, you could hit the lottery ticket one year and get 6 or 7 winners, which I've done once, I think. And you could be looking at a couple of grand from a quid stake. But no, on the week I won't do any more multiples because all the value's gone. So that's what I do.
Yeah. Anything to add on that, James?
No, no, no. Perfect.
No.
Next quick
Interesting.
question
Yeah,
is
go for it. Go for it.
from, we've got 2 questions left. Daniel
Okay.
Clark has asked, give us your biggest long shot horse fancy. So your biggest long shot that we necessarily haven't spoke about. Anything that you haven't mentioned that you think could go well.
I've actually got one, but James already mentioned it.
Right.
Um, and it's a horse in the Supreme in the
Mr.
green.
Gift.
Yeah, in the double green. I really like this horse. I know he didn't beat anything on his debut, but not a lot of them do. But like I love visuals. You know, it's important to trust yourself. And like he does everything right. His form wasn't mustered over in France, but they knew what they were buying. They bigged him up as a good horse. So I mean, he may have some sort of influence into why one or two of them may go up to the bar in Bingham. So perhaps Mr. Giff. I'm not putting him up, but in each, I definitely won't be putting anyone off backing him each way. Like, and like you said, Jamie obviously fancies him to a degree as well, but no massive fancies this year. Sorry to be boring. I just don't have anything that big a price that I fancy.
For me, obviously, Lemmy lost. I said Protectorate, but the one I actually coming down on now at the moment, I see it's been well backed enough. So I saw 10, 12 to 1 for the Bearing and Bingham. Obviously, I like Mystical Power because hopefully no Mystical Power is going here. But the one I really like, if Mystical Power can't jump in bombs, because it's such a it's a decent race. Stage Steel, don't like Atlantic, never have. But the other one is Predator's Gold. I think this
Okay.
is right. Really does because I think it got an awful ride at the DRF, and Danny Mullins got to give Dancing City a better ride.
It was deep as
Uh,
well, Jamie, wasn't it? It was so deep. Like,
yeah, it's so deep. I think Predator's Gold is better than what it is.
yeah,
If you think Caldwell Potter, who's been bought for 740 grand, they think it's a good horse. On an Connecticut trip, it was second to at Christmas in Leopardstown. This horse has been underestimated. Seems to be well backed at the moment.
sure.
And if Mystical Power doesn't win, I'd like Predator's Goal against it each way.
He was definitely more fancied before the race, wasn't he?
He was
Like we said.
favourite, like Joe, like you know
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah,
favourite that day and was well backed, and everyone thought it was nothing was going to beat him in the first race
yeah.
at the Great Festival. So I think he's been forgotten about. He's obviously not been forgotten about now. But like I got a bit of 20 to 1 after, like, I see it there going down. I said, nah, I'm going to have a bit of that because obviously I wanted Ballyburn in the Supreme, Mystical Power in the Bearing Bingham.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
my crib, obviously, Mystical Power is the jumping. Is he gonna be too keen? But I think it's the fastest horse in the race, but it's to get there. After that, I like Predator to go. Yeah, I think it's a really good horse.
A bit underestimated still, isn't he? Like, definitely.
I'm going to throw one in that I really think's gone under the radar, and I'm going back to our first show we did together, and I tipped him up at 40 to 1 for the Turners, and he's still 28, and that's Imagine for the
Oh,
Turners.
yeah,
Oh
okay.
yeah, I don't know.
He's
So,
now with
oh,
Harry
he's gonna
Derham.
Harry Durham. Yeah.
Harry Derham, yeah, obviously when they sold the horses.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, who did he beat first time out in his beginner's chase, Jamie?
I know the way you're thinking.
Exactly. He beat I Know the Way You're Thinking 2 1/4 lengths. And then he beat the likes of Uncle Phil and Lucid Dreams. Uncle Phil's come out since. And Frank the Form well and truly. Beating a very good horse. I can't remember even know who it was. It was I've just looked. I'm going to tell
Let's
you
be
the name.
clear about it in
Let's
the
be clear
tab
about it,
bar.
yeah. Who's favourite pretty much for the plate. So
Right. Yeah.
So there you go. I think he let himself down a little bit the last day, but I think he's had a bit of a break, and I think he's a forgotten horse. I think 28 to 1 is a good each way bet.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one more question from the man himself, Phil Daniel.
Oh,
Go on,
that
Phil.
Phil.
Philip.
Phil.
So you have to think carefully about this one, and I think, Joe, if it's all right, we'll go around one by one for each day.
Mhm.
Phil has said, out of all the fancied runners that people really seem to like, one for each day, a fancied runner you would place lay, and which horse would it be, starting on the Tuesday? So I'll go first if you don't mind.
Yep, go for it. Go for it.
Tuesday, I would place lay Jericho de Repenay in the Supreme.
Okay. I would go for Ilite Tom in the Arkle.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you have to send the two bloody horses, I was going to say. Uh,
You're not allowed to.
well,
George, you're not allowed to say him now.
Paisley.
Not allowed to say him now, James.
Oh, God. First day, you have to send the two horses, I would say.
Are there going to be enough runners in the last for you to place Lay Embassy?
I'd place Lay, to be controversial. I'd place Lay Stumptown in the Ultimate. Yeah.
Oh, geez, interesting, interesting. All right, okay.
So Wednesday, day 2. Joseph,
Banbridge.
that's Thursday.
Oh, that's Thursday.
Sorry, lads, I'm getting a bit ahead there. No, no. John Bon then, guys. Like John Bon, but provided we got enough runners behind that is, I might be jumping the gun there a little bit, but
You could lay him 2 places, that would be okay.
Yeah, okay, 2 play. Yeah, happy with that. Place lay John Bon. Just hasn't filled me with confidence going into this. And I'd love to try and fly the flag for him, but it's hard to, isn't it? So yeah, John Bon.
I'd place Lay Mililindo in the cross country.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't be far off there with Jamie Manila-Indo. I think ground dependency wise, if it came up soft, I'd probably lay Galvin for a place. But if it came up good, he'd probably have a chance of winning. It's one of those. But no, I love the horse and I've backed him as a saver in case Ballybone doesn't show up. But I'm starting to go off Il Atlantique. I place lay him in the Byron Bingham.
Okay.
So we move on to Thursday. Jamie, Thursday?
It's Banbridge for me anyway. If we're carrying on the same circle,
Yeah, do it. Banbridge.
As mentioned, he's a lovely horse, Banbridge, but I don't like horses that don't really always get a full campaign coming into something like the Ryanair. Too many question marks at that sort of price, so I'd happily take him on with some decent horses around him in the market, I guess.
It's Thursday. Wow. I'd place like Guayquilla.
Oh, she's my girl. She's my girl.
I'd go for if
you want to say Iroko, but I still think Iroko is a very, very good horse.
I'm in the same kind of race. If Gaelic Warrior runs, I'd place lay him. Don't see him left-handed whatsoever. But if Irish Point runs in the Stayers Hurdle, I'd place lay Tierpu. I think Crambo, Irish Point, and there's a couple of others that have been running well this year. I'd be tempted to place lay Tierpu.
There you go.
Friday.
Struggling here, lads. I've actually had to get the cards up to sort of have a look and have a think about it as well.
Putting you on the spot.
I mean, I don't like Dino Blue, do I? But I don't think I could play Slay her because I think she'll still be there or thereabouts, just out of class. I just don't.
Oh yeah. I'd play Slay Braveman's game all day in the World Cup.
Okay. He's big price mine now, isn't he? What is he?
Yeah.
Big enough price mine to 16.
14 to 1, 16. Like it won't be in the first three now.
I'd go with Jerry then in the same race. Similar. Yeah. You got to prove that you can run a 3 mile 2 sort of race.
Yeah, at the moment, I've watched the Ryanair actually the last couple of nights, and look, what was annoying me was like how did Shishkin not win the race last year?
Yeah.
But he did clout the third last. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think he'd have won if he didn't clout the third last. That's just me. Like my 1, 2, 3 at the moment will be Shishkin, like the Galopan, Shishkin, and Faster Slow. Do you know what I mean? And look, if it stays raining, do you know, like stays very soft, like Cherry Clom is definitely going to come into the race. There's no doubt about that. But Brave Men's game to me won't beat any of those 4, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my place may be Long Press in the Gold Cup. Don't think he's anywhere near as good as he is a couple of seasons ago.
He comes into those, Scott, if a bit of soft ground. That's just me.
But
Yep.
does he though? But does he though? Because then you've got Galopan, you've got fast or slow.
So, so
Jerry Colon will handle the soft.
yeah, like that's what I'm
Such a
saying.
weak,
Like, yeah, I
such
think
a
the
weak
one
finish
thing
though,
that
Jerry.
Brave Men's game is if it stays the way it is, and they say the water table is high, but Cheltenham will drain if there's no rain during the week.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The other one I was going to say was Sama Jest, too short for the Martin Pipe. I would
Yeah.
place
I
lay
think
him.
he'll go Carl Cup.
Well, he could do, but if he runs in the pipe, I'd place lay him. Put it. I wouldn't back him for either
I
race. I'd
wouldn't
place
back him
lay him.
either. I totally agree with you because like they're basing him off 140 off Noble Yates, who didn't have a hurdle mark, and Noble Yates was only going around for a trot. Do you know what I mean? That ground at Limerick that day was desperate. You're saying he's 140, he's a pound lower than when the State Man rule, as it's all of he's going to be called now, the State Man rule.
Yeah.
He's a pound less than State Man. You see Sam just being like a grade one horse like State Man, not a chance in hell. That's just me. I couldn't
That's
have
it.
Sam just. I'd rather Sam because your man's getting like Johnny Janine's after opening his mouth. Look, I like Johnny.
Yeah.
Um, there's huge money for like Waterford Whispers. I just checked there is nearly 10, 12 to 1. It was 25 to 1 a couple of days ago.
Value
So
before we've even got there, like.
yeah. So no, I wouldn't touch Sam just for either. To be honest.
All right then. Is that everything then, lads? I'm all Scotty.
That's it, mate.
All right, happy days. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. 8 days to go now to the Cheltenham Festival. Of course, always gamble responsibly. Enjoy the week, and don't forget to come back at the weekend for our Cheltenham Festival preview. But not only will I have the lads, but we're going to be joined by the wonderful Dawn and Alex Galpin from the Cheltenham Exchange. But we'll see you all real soon, and thanks for stopping by.